In a world where God is dying, 4 heathens come to deliver the final nails in the coffin. From the depths of hell, Satan sends 4 puppets of the imperialist West and the Zionist Jews against God, Islam, and tiny kittens to bring you their propaganda and conspire for a new world order. This is Secular Jihadists from the Middle East.
Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today this is a live stream for our patrons and our subscribers. So if you are one of these people, you probably have a notification right now that tells you we are live. So I am the host. My name is Faisal Mutar, the host of the Secular Jihadist podcast. And with us, we have the 3 usual hosts and suspects. Yasmin is a convert to Christianity. She was touched by Jesus Christ, our Lord, in the past 24 hours, and she has accepted him strongly. Hello, Yasmin.
Hi.
And we have Al-Rizvi, who is...
That sounded so sexual, I just want to say. Like, that sounded kind of like borderline. Okay, anyway, go on.
Well, speaking of borderline, Ali is the borderline regressive and social justice warrior who is overcompensating for his dislike of Trump and trying to figure out a way to get liked by liberals. And
because liberals don't like me enough. That's why.
Yeah,
I just want them to
good
like
luck
me.
with that. And with us, we have Armin Navabi. Armin is the troublemaker in this episode. So he's going to probably lead most of the discussion. And Armin is the deputy director of Iranian Quds army that is now controlling parts of Iraq and leading the war against ISIS. Good job, Armin.
Thank you.
I hope wish you success with I mean he's the niece of Qasem Soleimani, who's the head of the
Nephew.
Iran, both. Did you assume his gender?
Oh shit!
You walked
did.
right into that.
Fuck. So Armin is a big fan of Qasem Soleimani, and he's been leading the force after that. So Armin, tell us more about what's happening in Malaysia.
Oh wow. Okay. So just a few days ago, we Atheist Republic posted a picture. Well, just to go back a little bit, Atheist Republic has consulates in everywhere in the world, right? And so in every major city in the world, we have consulates where people get to find atheists in their local area, and they, it's a way for people to find each other and meet each other and feel that they're not alone. And we have had a lot of success with that in many of the cities. And one example of that is, we have a lot of great stories, but one of my favorite is the Manila one where the events has been huge there, and so many atheists have been finding each other, and they have been great time. And in Mexico also, we have had huge events. And in India, everywhere. But and in Manila, even they started a fundraiser and they raised money for the people that were displaced by the Islamic attacks there, right? In Philippines, and they raised money and they actually managed to help a lot of displaced people. So and they had a blast doing it and helping, and they post pictures. And one thing we do is that they send us pictures of their gatherings, and we post it on the main page, right? And
your main page has over almost 1.7 million followers, right?
Right. Yes. So, and when that happens is that when we do that, people comment and share it, and a lot of people that didn't know these consulates exist go and find a consulate in the local area, and people send messages of support, and the people in these consulates see that, and they feel encouraged, and they feel so much support from atheists around the world that they had a gathering, that they had a meeting, and the fact that some people are surprised that there's so many atheists in that location. And it's such a blast. And usually the reaction that people get when they post these pictures is, so much support. But then now the Kuala Lumpur consulate, they wanted to get in on the game, and they had a gathering, and it was a huge gathering and of Atheist Republic members in Kuala Lumpur, and they sent us a picture, and we got everybody sent their approval that they want their pictures posted, except I think except one person that they have a piggy face in the picture. If you can see that their face is blocked, I think it's because they couldn't get his approval. I don't. But then we posted that, and they all of a sudden got a different kind of reaction. So that picture, apparently, a lot of people were triggered by the fact that there's so many atheists in Kuala Lumpur, which is supposed to be an Islamic country, and they couldn't stand for it. So we had these Islamic blogs all of a sudden saying, oh, this is a group by an Iranian atheist that doesn't understand Islam, and he's coming and brainwashing our Muslims, and this is not right. And all of a sudden, the picture went viral, and they got a lot of reactions from other Muslims, and now people are demanding a government crackdown, and guess what? They got it. The government got involved, and now we have a minister that's saying that they're going to find these people and they're going to hunt them down. They're showing it in their news. The picture is printed in newspapers. The TV news is covering it, and they say like, oh, Muslims are going to atheists. By the way, it seems like they can't comprehend that when a Muslim leaves Islam, they're not Muslim anymore. Because they keep calling them, we're going to find Muslims that are going to atheist events. But I think, in Malaysia, they have this understanding that if you are not Malay, which is the major ethnic group, you could be whatever what you want, right? But if you are Malay, you're always a Muslim, right? You can't leave that. So basically, they're saying it's okay maybe for other people to go be atheist, but for Muslims, which are like, they can't go during these events because for them they're always a Muslim. Right?
So they're considering it
and
an ethnicity.
it's a legal thing too. Like they have that in that, like they won't let you officially change your religion in Malaysia. It's like that in Pakistan too. I can't, if they put Islam on your passport, if you want to change it, you can't get a new passport. You have to keep the same thing. Yeah, but so at first originally they were saying that they're going to specifically find quote unquote Muslims that are attending these events, not anybody else. But now these politicians are saying he's on video saying, no, they're going to find all, because Malaysia is a country under God and under religion. So they're going to find everybody that is not just ex-Muslims either, everybody that is, says that an atheist, and they're going to find them. And they keep using the word hunt. Like, this is not we exaggerating their words and saying like, oh, they're looking for us, but we're trying to dramatize and like make it more, clickbaity and saying they're hunting us. And no, they're saying we're gonna hunt these people down. That's what the word that they use. Oh, Faisal is leaving. Do you want to say something before you leave?
I have to. Yes, I need to leave. Sorry, guys, but I have to say that we are all in solidarity with all the people who are really enjoying their basic human right, which is the right to form a community or freedom of association and freedom of religion, freedom from religion. And we're really saddened by what's happened in Malaysia, and that is considered a role model for minority Muslim countries. So it must be much more difficult for people who are in Palestine or in Iraq or in Syria and stuff. So we just need to tell them that there are people out there who are standing for you and not going to throw you under the bus. And I hope you guys get help and be heard. So thank you very much, and you guys continue.
Thank you, Faisal. Armin, I had a question. I read somewhere where Reza Aslan was talking about Indonesia and Malaysia being the moderate Muslim majority countries. So
I am shocked and stunned by this. Why is a moderate? Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I mean, so it's actually, to be quite honest,
I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
I didn't think. Yeah, but okay. But here's the thing: I'm not being sarcastic to say I didn't expect this from Malaysia, right? I thought, yes, you might get in Malaysia, you might, and now I'm being educated by our Malaysian atheists that they might have, for some of them they might have expected this, and we're going to be inviting one of them in our future episodes, but I didn't expect the government to get involved in hunting down atheists. And I thought maybe there would be some mosque or this local imam guy that is going to be saying that this is bullshit and we can't have this in our country, or for a minister to be like saying that this is not acceptable and this is unconstitutional and we can't have godless people in the country and we're going to find these people. That was a surprise for me, for a country like Malaysia. By the way, our Indonesian consulate is also getting a backlash from this, because a lot of people in Indonesia are like, oh, they have consulate in Indonesia too. So they are kind of going on a defensive mode as well right now.
And Indonesia is the largest Muslim majority country in the world, with over 250 million people.
Right.
Yes.
And by the way, this is what moderate Islam looks like for people that don't that thinking like, oh, Islam could be moderate, right? So this is the most moderate that you could get. Indonesia and Malaysia are supposed to be shining examples of how progressive Islam could get, right? And this is in a country that apparently Muslims can get together and have meetups and mosques and everything, and Christians can have churches, and Buddhists and Hindus, they all can do whatever they want and build temples and all that shit. But a few atheists just getting together and hanging out and having a good time, that's a threat to the government. Not only a threat to the country, a threat to Islam, a threat to this creator of the universe, Allah, apparently his religion, his powerful religion that apparently can be defeated, is now under threat by just a bunch of people trying to find like-minded other people. These are the people that are already discriminated against, that already feel alone, that already don't have any outlets, and they just want to find each other and see that other people that might be thinking like them, and you're gonna take that away from them because what? Because your religion can't take that, your God can't take that, your God can't take a bunch of people just meeting and hanging out each other. Who are they harming? Seriously, who are they harming? How is that a threat to anybody? They're just people that are meeting up, having drinks and meeting each other. And now they're being hunted down like criminals.
By the government.
By the government. They have their pictures pixelated like they're committed a crime, and on TVs and on newspapers, and and people are like, who are these people? Why are they Muslim and going to atheist event? How did your life change from these people meeting up with each other?
I wanted to so it's we talked about how this is a government. And what I want to do is I actually just want to read out some of the comments from just regular people in Malaysia who have, and of course, this doesn't mean all Malaysians, but this isn't a sampling of some of the things. And I'm going to read these out. So, and this is in response to this group of atheists from the Malaysian chapter of Atheists Republic, the Kuala Lumpur chapter, getting together. And these are comments from Facebook from people in Malaysia. Quote, "If I am not mistaken, according to the prophets of old, the punishment for apostasy is death." Quote, "It is better to die from hanging for murder than to die as an apostate." These are quotes from people in Malaysia responding to this picture, by the way. Quote, "The punishment for apostasy is death. What actions are our mufti, that's clerical leadership, taking against this?" Okay, quote, "Isn't it permissible to kill apostates?" Quote, "This is why Islam commands that apostates who refuse to repent should be killed. These people are poison." There's a quote actually calling for Armin's death. right? Armin is, he's the Iranian ex-Muslim who's a founder of Atheist Republic. And this guy, Muhammad Mohit or something, he said, quote, their leader is Iranian. He should be arrested and beheaded, the accursed man. And these are just some of them. And then the last one I'm going to read here, and again, these are just some of many. Quote, according to Islamic law, as agreed by Islamic scholars, apostates should be punished with a beheading. The apostate should be given a few days to repent, to escape his punishment. If this law is enacted, would there be anyone who would dare to leave Islam? Choose Islam, end quote. So this is a sampling of some of the reaction from within Malaysia by Malaysian Muslims to this picture being posted, which is like, these are pictures of atheists in Malaysia. That's now on TV. It's now on Malaysian papers. It's been picked up by Reuters. There's news stories everywhere, and the highest levels of the government are targeting these people now, and their faces are exposed. Their lives are endangered, and they're in peril right now as we speak. Yes.
And I'd just like to add to that too, that from what you were saying about Malaysia being a somewhat supposedly moderate country in comparison to the other Muslim countries. And these are the kinds of comments that are coming out. And I was speaking to one of our followers in Egypt who was saying to me that he can be comfortable on Twitter. He said, because Salafis aren't on Twitter. He said, usually it's the younger, educated, the ones that can that are going to be on, that even know how to use Twitter, and that are going to be writing messages in English or whatever. Like, those are the upper echelons of society kind of thing. So if these are the kinds of responses that we're hearing from the upper echelons of a moderate Muslim society, it's not hard to imagine what kinds of things are being said by more closed-minded people in these societies.
We should deny them the word moderate. The moderate version of Islam would never pass as moderate in the civilized world. Malaysia should be stripped of this idea that it's considered a moderate country. Even after this embarrassment, they should be embarrassed. They should be exposed for the country they are. This is a civil rights. If this was happening to any other group, there would be an outcry right now. If this was a group of Muslims being treated like this, if this was a group of Christians being treated like this, the whole world would be reacting to it right now. The whole world would be reacting to it right now. And for people that say like, oh, we can reform Islam and that all nonsense, this is the best you get. This is the best you get out of Islam when you reform it. It will always come back and fuck you up at some point. It's a sleeping dragon. Just because it's sleeping, it doesn't mean that it's not going to wake up and fuck you over one day. Islam is shit because these are the most quote unquote moderate Islamic countries, and this is how they treat people that want to leave Islam.
Like, most Malaysian Muslims are more like Sufis, right? So that's supposedly the reformed kind of Islam. They are already a lot more chill. So what you're saying is, yeah, this is evidence for what you've always been saying, that it's like an elastic band, right? It's going to bounce back to its default setting.
Armin, are you in touch with any of the people in the picture? Have you corresponded with them?
Yeah, actually, some of them are being contacted by the police right now. So what we're trying to do is try to find any lawyers in Malaysia that would kindly try.
Wait. Contacted by the police? Why? Why are they being contacted by the police?
That's a very good fucking question. Because they got together and had drinks and met with each other. That's why.
So that's actually illegal? Like, it's actually illegal there? I thought it was. Well, I thought this was more social pressure, but this is actually a legal matter.
No. This is what. Okay, so this is what this motherfucker called Shahidan Kassim. Okay, so he's a minister in Malaysia. This is what he said on TV, on video. Okay, he said we need to hunt down these groups, and he's talking about the picture that was posted, until the end, because they've broken state religious law. All the states are under Malay rules. Also, all the states that are under Malay rules also need to hunt them down, because this country is a country with religion. We have Islam and we have other religions, Christianity, Buddhism, Confucianism, Hinduism. We don't have those without a religion. Even in our federal constitution, it says Islam is the religion of the federation, and other religions are also allowed to be practiced peacefully. It doesn't mention anything about atheism. I suggest we hunt them down until the end. We also ask the media to help us identify these groups. We also need to help these people get on the right path. If they're Muslim, you see, the idea of an ex-Muslim is so far into them. It's not that they... Oh, he says he's claiming these. It's not that they want to be atheists. They just don't have religious knowledge. The lack of religious knowledge has made them this way. In the afterlife, will also be questions if we've explained the religion to them. To state religious leaders and governments, they need to pay attention to this issue. We should do it nicely so they don't play victims. Oh,
Wow.
so even here's a funny thing. He's saying that we should, when he says we should play nicely, he's worried about the PR, how it's going to look, instead of, well, guess what? You already have a fucking PR problem. We're going to make this a PR nightmare for you, motherfucker.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you when you were asking about lawyers. Please continue that thought.
No. So if anybody knows any lawyers that in Kuala Lumpur or in Malaysia that might be interested in protecting these people's rights, pro bono, that would be such a huge help to us.
Isn't everybody's life in danger now? Like if a lawyer decides to step forward and do this pro bono, wouldn't that lawyer also be putting himself in harm's way?
No, I don't. We're not talking Saudi Arabia yet, right? And a lot of we're talking about people being harassed. We're talking maybe people like losing jobs and stuff, maybe.
That's what I
But
thought.
we're not talking about Saudi Arabia level problem. But the thing is that this is how we get to Saudi Arabia level problem, by not fighting these fights. A lot of the Malaysian consulate members, they said they were saying. One of the comments was that thank you for bringing attention to this, even though we're not as bad as Bangladesh, Pakistan, or Saudi Arabia, we still appreciate that you're doing this. I was like, no, fuck that shit, because we shouldn't be just fighting in those countries to get rights. We should also fight for not losing ground on places that people have rights, right? Because guess what? If people in Malaysia are treated like this, what hope do we have for people in Pakistan and Saudi Arabia? We're not making any progress. We're going backwards. We're going backwards. We were losing the countries like Indonesia, countries like Malaysia, countries like Turkey, right? We're going backwards, people.
And there's one thing I want to say is, like, recently there was another story over here where people were talking about the attack in Bloomington on a mosque. There's a bombing and explosion in Bloomington, Minnesota. And this was an anti-Muslim crime. And people are saying, well, what about the terrorism against Muslims? What about anti-Muslim bigotry? And one thing I just want to say is, like, the difference is, and nobody's supporting that. Of course, that's a terrible thing that happened in Bloomington, but the people who did that are going to be prosecuted by a U.S. law enforcement, by state law enforcement. That what they did was illegal. They have to hide out. Whereas what's happening to these people in Malaysia, these atheists in Malaysia, is that the government is also hunting. The government is saying we're going to hunt them down. The media is putting their images on TV and in papers. And even if it's illegal to persecute atheists or whatever, from a legal point of view, even if it was, you heard those quotes. It's like Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, they'll be like, okay, yeah, it's not our official policy to execute these bloggers, but you throw them to the mob, and then the mob comes in and hacks them to death with machetes. And they're freely and openly allowed to come out and say that, yeah, these people should be killed. Droves of them. And they're exposed. Their faces are in that picture. And it's all over Malaysian media. So this is that is a difference. When people say, well, what about this? What about that? We shouldn't be criticizing Islam because, there's Trump and there's anti-Muslim bigotry in the West and we should be careful about it. Well, there's also political climate in 50 plus Muslim majority countries where even the most moderate of them, like Malaysia, right? Even the most moderate of them have some level of this bullshit going on at the highest levels of government. Okay, so there's also, so you have, there's one thing in the West, we shouldn't be doing this. Well, there's also that. And over there, what you have here with Trump is still under control. He's still accountable to the media in the US. He's still accountable to the judicial branch. He's still accountable to so many other institutions in the US. Those people are not accountable to anybody. They're running their countries the way they want to, and the people, the mob, is with them. Right, and there's nothing can be done, and this is a key distinction that people need to understand about what's happening over there. The authorities over there are, I mean, they're not just Trump; they're worse than Trump. These people, right? And we need to show solidarity without them, without worrying about how the sensitivities and everything that are happening in this part of the world. And that's supremely important.
Yes, please. Amen.
I just want to mention something else. A lot of people are saying that you shouldn't have posted a picture. Right? That's
blame
what
the
they're
victim.
saying to us, right? First of all,
Yeah.
So first of all, we posted that with their request. And second of all, fuck anybody that victim blames, okay? Fuck you. You think that people shouldn't be able to get together and have a hangout and celebrate the fact that they're atheists and they're meeting with each other? Fuck that. All right, you don't blame them for posting the picture. You blame the people for trying to treat them like criminals for posting a picture of them just getting together. That's who you blame. They are the people. You don't tell people how much risk they should take and how much risk you should. You're not taking any risk in Canada or United States or United Kingdom. You get to sit there and say like, oh, people shouldn't take any risk. Fuck you.
And it's the reason that Canada and the United States are the countries that they are is because of people like this who decided to take risks. It's filled the history is filled with people, in Canada and the US who made it a free society, who allowed for all of the freedoms and the liberties and everything that we enjoy today and the rights we enjoy today. It was all done by people who took these risks, who faced the opposition. And who went through what these people are doing when they get together, when they talk, when they choose to think differently, when they decide to break out of age-old dogma and try to move forward, and these are the people who make it possible for you to sit in this country, in the West, in the US and in Canada, and say that, those guys shouldn't be meeting. Why did they get together in the first place? The reason you have the luxury to be able to say that is because of people like them in your own history that made your country what it is and allowed you to say it.
And you're standing in our way when we're trying to do the same thing so that we can enjoy the same freedoms.
Yeah, instead of trying to blame the victim, maybe go and try to raise maybe try embarrassing Malaysia, because guess what? Malaysia is still not the Saudi Arabia, so they care. People are like, oh, they're not gonna care about the public image. They fucking care. Malaysia enjoys a shitload of money from the tourism industry. They have a lot more attention to their international relationships and the other countries and how they're viewed. So they're going to care. And guess what? Even a country like Saudi Arabia has sometimes changed its behavior under international pressure. Mm-hmm. Sometimes. So if a country like Saudi Arabia can change some behavior, I think a country like Malaysia is going to be, instead of trying to tell people what pictures to post and what pictures not to post, maybe contribute in embarrassing Malaysia for violating human rights, right? And I want to read something I read in the consulate. Some guy named Adib was asking the other people in the consulate in Kuala Lumpur, like, so what should I feel? Should I be scared right now? And then somebody new responded, why should you? And Adib says, well, we are going into mainstream media right now. Noor says, well, it really depends on you. Are you ready to go out of the closet? And Adib says, I'm done hiding. So, and a lot of the people in their group are laughing about this and making jokes about this, and they're like, a lot of them are saying, I don't care. They would do it again, and they're done hiding. They're not gonna back down on this. These are people that want to be out. These are people that are tired of living in the shadows. Nobody should be scared of expressing their views, whatever those fucking views are. So be on the right side and fight for people being able to express themselves instead of telling them to stay in hiding.
Yeah.
In the same way that they would support people in their own communities, in their own countries, in their own societies. Those are the people that we support all the time. When we had pride parades, everybody was supporting people in the pride parades. We weren't saying, some people were, but those were closed-minded assholes. Those aren't the same people that are now saying to ex-Muslims and atheists across the Muslim world, why don't you stay quiet? Why did you post pictures? Those are supposed to be liberals. Those are supposed to be enlightened people.
Yeah. Do you think the gay rights would have made this much advance that it had made in the West if they just stayed and people like, oh, why are you taking risk and just stay hidden? Do you think they would be as accepted as they are today if they did that?
Yeah. Just to kind of move this to the next step is that, okay, what do we do about this? I just kind of want to start with one thing Armin said, and that I read in one of the Malaysian papers, that they asked for a statement from Atheist Republic, and Atheist Republic gave them a statement saying that that if they target atheists, then this is going to hurt Malaysia's moderate image, because Malaysia does, as you said, Armin, take sort of they like the fact that they're seen as a moderating, a sort of like a moderate Muslim majority country, right, around the world. And they want to retain that. So I think the statement that were you sort of trying to play on that when you responded and you said that?
Yeah, no, like if you want to keep your moderate image, you better not touch our atheists. Like if you want to quote unquote be labeled as a moderate country, then fucking behave yourself. I know this is what I'm saying. Like we're gonna make sure the whole world knows how you treat people because of their opinion, if you wanna go ahead with this, right? And anybody listening, please support us in bringing attention to this so that they know that the whole world is watching. And also, I just want to hand out another fuck you to some people, and to the people in the United States or in Canada and the West that says like, oh well, the Republicans would do the same. This is the wet dreams of the Republicans. Or like, oh, if the Christians could get their way this way. Okay, shut the fuck up. We're not talking about the United States. We're not talking about the United Kingdom. Not everything is about you. You don't have to compete in how big of a victim you are every time somebody has a problem with Islam. We're not talking, you guys have to make everything about you, right? We're talking about this country, okay? We're talking about people there. First of all, that's fucking bullshit, okay? Mm-hmm. It's fucking bullshit. Not even fucking Mike Pence is not gonna say like, oh, we should hunt down atheists. We should even with his anti-gay agenda, even if he had fucking full power, he's not gonna go out and kill atheists. I'm not defending him. The guy is an asshole, right? He's a religious anti-gay asshole. But don't try to compete with Islam, because when it comes to fucking over people that are not Muslim, Christianity has nothing over it.
And the amazing thing with Malaysia is there is a hypocritical element. And someone actually brought this up to me recently, that in Malaysia, it's like if you're people who are Christian, people who are Buddhist, for them, they always, all the tourists that go there from the West, they're like, oh, this is a very secular country. They like to portray that image. But when it comes to people who are Muslim, who decide to think differently, or Muslims who become Christian, or Muslims who become, atheists or whatever it is, then suddenly, this is exactly what happens. Right. And that's a hypocritical thing.
And let's look at Christian countries, shall we? Let's look at Israel, which is the only Jewish majority country. Let's look at other countries of other religious majority other than Muslim majority countries, and let's compare how the religious minorities are treated there compared to how they're treated in Islamic countries. So people love to make this comparison all the time. Oh, if Christians could do this, they would do it too, blah, blah, blah. Well, in Vatican City, are there any Muslims being persecuted? Are there any atheists being persecuted? I don't even know. other than Vatican's, like, what am I supposed to say, right? Like there are so-called, even if they're Christian majority countries, they're secular countries, right? And nobody is treating, other than the Muslim majority countries, nobody treats their religious minorities like this.
And even if even if Christianity was worse than Islam, which is fucking ridiculous, right? You don't have to bring up your problem every time. You don't have to compete with other victims every time we're bringing up their problem. You know, you don't have to just, no, look at me, look at Christianity in our country. Fuck you. We're talking about Malaysia right now.
At the time when Christianity was persecuting minorities, way back when, everybody criticized them. If someone criticized them and you called them, like, oh, you're just an anti-Christian bigot, and things like
Christianophobia.
And there are people who said that. There are people who probably went up to Voltaire and went up to Rousseau, and they're like, oh, you're an anti-Christian bigot, you're a Christophobe, or whatever terms that they had. We've never heard those quotes, and we don't know who those people are, for good reason. It's because they were on the wrong side of history. And now when the same thing is happening with this other major world religion, and with all of these theocracies, these Islamic theocracies, why would you want to behave differently? If you're benefiting from the successes of the Western Enlightenment and free expression and individual liberty and civil rights and all those, if you're benefiting from all of that, why not let that happen for the Muslim world as well? Why try to derail that?
Encourage the enlightenment of the Muslim world. Why are you standing in the way?
Think of it that way. I mean, these are the people. These are the Voltaires and the John Locke's and all of the Enlightenment thinkers of the modern Muslim world. This is what's happening in that world, and and they're facing a lot of the same opposition. And when you take sides on this, like, instead of deflecting, and saying, well, it's worse over here, the Republicans are worse, or Pence are worse, is worse, as Armin's saying, don't deflect. Focus that this is what the topic is. The topic right now is what's happening in Malaysia. It's not what's happening in wherever you are.
Or what happened 500 years ago.
Yeah.
It is not, it's not about what happened 500 years ago. And if there's any lesson if you want to bring up 500 years ago, remember how rationalists responded to that. And remember that these are the people who are the rationalists, who are the parallel to that. And you should be joining them.
It's not even relevant. You're just bringing up a different problem. Okay, fuck yeah, we're atheists. We know Christianity is bullshit. Okay, we're not talking about that. The example that I use all the time is like going to a cancer fundraiser and yelling out, "Well, AIDS is bad too. AIDS is bad too." Like, well, get the fuck out of here. This is a cancer fundraiser. Yes, nobody here says AIDS is fine, right? And people are like, well, I just wanted to make sure that we point that out. You're talking to fucking atheists. What point are you making? You're just trying to compete.
Yeah, it's not like any of us converted to Christianity. There's a good reason we didn't. That's not the point. It's completely irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the topic. It's actually a really, really annoying thing that every time you talk about this issue, anytime you try to bring up Islam, well, what about Christianity? What about all of these other religions? Yes, I know. We get that. And many people have talked about it, right? And then that's happened.
Yeah, from now on, anytime somebody talks about Christianity, I'm like, why are you not talking about the Vikings? Why are you focusing on Christianity? Why are you not talking about the Mayan religion? Why are you singling out Christianity? It's fucking stupid. That's what it is.
What, Armin? What do we do? What can people do?
Well, okay. So just make if you have if you have a podcast, or if you are a YouTube channel, if you have a blog, invite people from Malaysia. Right. I found one guest. I'm trying to find more guests. And just talk to them. Or if you see the story about this fucking minister, and just try to embarrass these people as much as you can. Share the articles, bring the attention to the fact, make Malaysia see that this is trending, and this is now. I I want Malaysia to understand that from now on, if people think of Malaysia, they're going to put it in the same category as countries like Saudi Arabia, right? Oh, human rights. Malaysia, what are you going to remember? Human rights violation. I want them to see that this is the image that they're going to create for themselves, right? So invite people that in atheists in Malaysia on your show. And if you share articles about this shit happening, and if you know anybody in Kuala Lumpur or anywhere in Malaysia that is a lawyer that might want to, and this is not about asylum, okay? These are people that want to stay in Malaysia. They have jobs there, they have family there. We haven't got to that far that these people want to leave their country. No, we just want lawyers that, if any of them does get targeted unfairly, there's somebody there that is going to protect them legally.
Right.
So somebody's saying here that Philip DeFranco might be a good person, like his YouTube channel. So reach out to him, you guys. Share this podcast with him. Share this podcast with all the YouTubers you know, with all the media outlets you know. Talk about this. Let this go viral. Let's speak out against bad ideas. Let's speak out against bad things that are happening. Forget that it's Malaysia. Forget that it's Muslims, or ex-Muslims. This is a shit thing that's happening right now. A government is hunting down people because they do not believe in free expression and free thought. That's something to speak up against. That's the First Amendment, free speech. All Americans should be enraged about this right now and should be feeling like there's got to be something that we can do, and there is something you can do. You can speak out against us, and you can support Malaysians and support atheists everywhere. Atheists are like probably the only group of people that have consistently been persecuted. Enough is enough.
Right, and people always talk about it in Muslim countries. They're like, well, we've never really heard of atheists over there. We've not, like, where are they? Where are they being persecuted? I'm like, well, the reason that they don't come out and they say that they're atheists is precisely because they know exactly what's going to happen. This is the one thing where people don't even admit to it. There are so many, there are so many closeted atheists in Muslim majority countries. You never hear from them because either they get thrown in jail and they're being flogged, or they get hacked to death in the streets like they do in Bangladesh, or stuff like this happens to them when they come out, even in a moderate Muslim majority country. And that's why you don't hear it. You think that people think that there's no narrative, and there's no story over here, and it's like they're too small in number. They're not small in number. They just know the consequences. They've seen the few of them that have come out and spoken and that have exposed themselves. They've seen exactly what's happened to them. So they don't come out and they say it. They try to say it. I remember when we were there, we used to talk about secularism. We used to talk about people who believe in science and rationality. We talked about separating religion from state. Nobody ever said atheism, because we knew that what that was a death sentence. And it wasn't just a death sentence for, if you're young, it's not just a death sentence for you. It's, what they do is they'll come after your family. They'll come after your parents. They'll come after your kids.
And the West will turn its back on you.
Yeah, they think that it's okay to kill your entire family if you're an atheist. Like they think that. So people don't speak out often, because I know people over here living in the West who have family back in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and they won't come out. They don't want to talk openly because they think that if they become too public about it, then someone's going to go and hunt down their brother or their sister back in their home country, and that's it. There's even over here, people are held back by that. So a lot of people don't understand this, but this is a huge narrative. A lot of this stuff is talked about underground. If you talk to people over there, they'll tell you how many people there are over there who are absolutely sick of the religion, who are sick of the religious people, who are just completely fed up with everything they're seeing around them, but they just can't say anything because they know what's going to happen to them.
So I like the Philip DeFranco idea. Thank you for whoever came up. I'm gonna tweet something right now on Atheist Republic saying his hashtag is Philly D, and he has a very popular YouTube channel. So I'm gonna tweet right now. Let @Philly D know atheists are being hunted down in Malaysia by retweeting this and ask him to cover it on his show. So if you guys if you guys go retweet that, that would be sweet, because maybe he will cover it on his show and get more attention on this, because he has so many subscribers on YouTube.
And also for our listeners that are living in countries where the government is not going to hunt you for speaking your mind, please speak out against this, even like, you know, at work, at school, wherever, at parties, just please take the risk that people might end up calling you an Islamophobe or a bigot or a racist or whatever. We're all taking risks.
We'll cover for you.
Yeah. Use us, okay? Use these brown-skinned people for the identity politics purposes. I got brown skin and lady parts here. They got my back. I can say these things for you if you don't feel like you want to say them yourself. Share this podcast. Ask them to follow us. Just please spread these ideas.
No. Say it yourself.
Say it yourself 100%. I am completely supportive of people saying it themselves. But I'm saying if there are people that are feeling nervous about saying it themselves, they can also use us, because that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing all this, is because we're trying to spread this message. And we're trying to spread the message to the left, to our fellow liberals. The right already know that this is a problem. People are talking about you need to work with the right. That's preaching to the choir. The right already know that Islam is a problem, okay? Their next step is taking care of Muslims. That's not what our agenda is. We don't have the same goals. What we're trying to do is we're trying to wake up the people on the left. We're trying to wake up our fellow liberals that supposedly believe in Enlightenment values, that supposedly believe in human rights and women's rights and freedom of thought and freedom from religion and freedom of religion. Those people are being hypocritical when they don't support us and when they don't support these Malaysian atheists. If you're saying those are your values and then you're not supporting these people, then you are being a hypocrite. Those are the people that we're trying to reach. So please help us reach them.
Right, and that's what's hurtful to us as well. It's because, you know, what you want to do is you the people who you consider your own, like the people who you feel at least connected with in some way, when they're the ones who are actually telling you that this is not, they're diminishing this problem, you know, that's when it becomes a serious issue. And so there's someone wrote here, is it Salafists usually perpetuating the violence at the worst that is? No, this is an example of how it's not. I mean, you heard all those comments that are read out. These are from just regular people. It's not just the Salafists. It's people who've just grown up in this environment. Apostasy is just something that even moderate people, there are polls about this. The Pew Research polling agency has done numerous polls about this in numerous Muslim majority countries where they've found that death for apostasy is actually agreed upon as a punishment in large majorities in places like Egypt and Pakistan, some of the biggest Muslim majority countries in the world. And Malaysia and Indonesia weren't actually part of that, but it turns out that they are now. You know, it seems that it's happening. I mean, there are people calling for these people's death. They're talking about
Monica just commented. Mm-hmm. Actually, Monica just made your point. She made your point. I think she says, Monica Namo, she's saying, with all the media coverage on atheists being hunted down and prosecuted in countries like Malaysia, how are people like Reza Aslan not finally admitting that there is a problem in the Muslim world?
Because the media coverage is not supporting what we're talking about. The media coverage is giving Reza Aslan his own TV show. That's what the media coverage is doing. The media coverage is working against us.
Thank you guys thank you Lalo for retweeting this. By the way, if you guys need to find the tweet, it's on right now is August 8, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. So thank you so much for guys. Wow, you guys are reacting to this really. Thank you so much for that.
Please spread the word. Let everybody know. Let's not let this story just get buried and ignored. If you know anybody in media, please encourage them to talk about this story. Please share this podcast. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you guys for. Sorry, I couldn't read your all the questions. I think I missed a whole bunch of questions. So sorry. But thank you for your support.
And if you're in Malaysia, we love you, and we're standing in solidarity with you, and
Yeah,
we're proud of you.
let us know what we can do.
Message us.
Mm-hmm. And Armin, like apart from this, I know this is like a setback, and it really sucks. And this is one of those places where even, when we do these things and, we post these pictures and we share them, there's a sense, where even, we feel like where it feels terrible to think that, posting this, publicizing it in a way has, you sometimes you get this subconscious sense that you feel responsible, that you're putting these people in harm's way, but that's not the case. It's not the case. I mean, these people, they're coming out, they know what the risks are, they're doing it, and they want to. There's a passion. And what you're doing, what Atheist Republic is doing, is actually, it's bringing these people who didn't know that the others existed. It's actually bringing them together, and it's helping them discover each other, and it's helping them know that they have a family out there, and what you're doing is absolutely amazing, and this should not distract from it, and this should not detract from it at all.
Yeah, when I got the message that somebody said that their police is coming at their door, I just felt like, fuck. I tried to get people meet each other, and now I'm having police knocking at their door. Like this is not what I wanted. I'm so sorry. But I'm gonna be there for you guys, and I'm gonna bring as much attention as I can to this.
And we all are.
Armin, don't feel that way, please. Everything that you've done, I mean, you remember what it felt like when you thought you were the only Muslim that was questioning your religion on the planet. I remember what that felt like. I was, I had to go through that before social media, and I was extremely lonely and suicidal. And I'm not the only one. There were so many people like us. And if I'd had Atheist Republic then, it would have saved me, hundreds of hours and hundreds of dollars of therapy. So you're doing a lot of good in this world, and that's what you need to focus on. And like Ali said, these are brave, grown adults making these decisions, that, just like us, right? Like, we're taking a risk when we do this too, but we know the risk that we're taking, and we want to do it. We're willing to do it. I love you. I'm sorry that you're feeling bad, and I'm sorry that this shit is happening, but please don't take it on yourself.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
All right, guys.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. If you guys, again, your comments, your feedbacks, just share this episode as much as you can. We're gonna try to get it out earlier than the other ones, just because it's such a pressing and sort of a very time sensitive issue. And we'll keep you updated. Just follow the Secular Jihadist Twitter feed, follow Armin, follow Atheist Republic, follow my account, and we're gonna keep it going, and we're gonna talk to other people who are more, who are influential, who have larger platforms, to try and get the story out there. If you know any media, if you're involved with the media, if you know anybody who can cover this story, put them in touch with us so we can talk about it and we can bring more attention to it. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
The Secular Jihadists have been made possible thanks to the gracious support of the Illuminati and the great state of Israel. That's what we have been told, but we haven't received our checks yet. In the meantime, we greatly appreciate the support of our current donors. Please consider supporting by sharing the podcast with your fellow heathens or by donating at patreon.com/SJME.